Welcome to Study Time, a televised home learning program produced by Rwanda Basic Education Board.
Hello students, how are you? I hope you are fine. You're welcome to biology lesson. This is senior 5. The unit 14, which is behavior and response in mammals. The lesson of today is types of behavior, part 2. Remember last time we have talked about the part 1. Now, as usual, you are with teacher Claude, so you're welcome. I hope you have your notebook where you can write some explanation. I hope you enjoy the lesson. What is the objective of the lesson of today? At the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain the characteristics of learning behavior. So, which means today we are going to talk about the learning behavior. Remember, last time we talked about the innate behavior. Now, today is about the learning behavior. So, behavior are divided into two groups. We have this innate behavior. Those are behavior that we get from our parents, and then you have another kind of behavior, which is learning behavior. So we're going to describe what's learning behavior and its characteristics. So another objectives, you will be able to describe the types of learning behavior. So this is what you should do at the end of this lesson. Now, when we talk about, before we talk about this learning behavior, remember last time when we talked about this innate behavior, we have seen that it is divided into two groups, where we have this autonomic innate behavior, automatic innate behavior. Those are behavior that require quick response to the stimulus. So we do have another group of innate behavior, is what we call instinct innate behavior. When we talk about instinct innate behavior, is the complex pattern of the innate behavior. It is somehow complex. So now when we talk about this instinctive behavior, it begins when the animal recognizes a stimulus and then continue until all the behavior have been performed. So this is what you call instinct innate behaviors. As we have seen, this innate behavior is divided into two groups. We have this automatic innate behavior and this instinct behavior. So this instinct behavior, we shall describe this in the details in the next lessons. But we can have some examples of this instinct innate behavior. So we can have like this countership behavior. We can also call this reproductive behavior. We shall see this in details. We do have also territorial behavior, and also we shall have also what we call social behavior. So and so on, even migration behavior. So this is what we describe through the experience, either the experience that you can get from the schools. That one can help you to change some behavior. So we are going to see what's happened during this learning behavior. Schools, when you learn, for example, when you learn this biology, so you will get some skills, and those skills can help you to change your behavior. We can get example. So when you start let's take an example, biology, you will develop what you call critical thinking. And those critical thinking can help you in our daily life. For example, when you get any challenge, you can use the skills that you have learned, and those skills can help you to solve some problems. So we're going to see many examples of this learned behavior, and then so that you can understand this clearly. So when we talk about this learning behavior, we allow an animal to adapt or to change, to adapt in different environments. So this is what you are going to see in the details. We can see some features, some characteristics of this learned behavior. So learned behavior is non-heritable, which means you do not acquire this through heredity or from the parent. It is through the experience, the observation. So you can observe, and then you learn from the observation. Through the experience you pass through, this can help you to achieve some behavior. For example, when you go in the forest, and then you see how the trees are growing. So from that observation, you can know what are the conditions. What are the conditions necessary to these plants to behave like this? Why do I have the tall plants and the short plants? Why do we have the plants with the large leaves and the plants with the short leaves? From that, you can develop your skills. So that's what we call learning behavior. So this learning behavior, you cannot get it from your parents. It is not inherited. You get it from the experience, from the observation. When we talk about experience, it's about the situation that you have passed through, either when you are at schools or in the environment. Also, you can learn from the environment. So this is one of the features of this learning behavior. It is non-heritable, which means you cannot get it from your parent, your grandparent, but you can get it through the observation and what? And experience. So another feature or characteristic of this behavior, learning behavior, is instinct, which means this can be absent when the animal is isolated. So when we talk about this learning behavior to be instinct, it means when an animal is in the isolation place. Suppose, let's take an example of human being. When human being is isolated, you have taken into the place where you cannot see the environment, where you cannot run, where you cannot go to schools. So at this point, you will not do what? You will not get this learning behavior. You get learning behavior because you are in the environment that favor you to get this learning behavior. So it is intrinsic, which means it is absent in the animal in isolation from the others. So we do learn when we are with other organisms. So when we talk about the animals, so it is not only about the wild animals. Even human beings are also included in the animalia kingdom. So another feature is perimitable. What does it mean? It means this behavior, learning behavior, can change over the time. So according to the time, the behavior you're having, it can be developed or not. So it is changing. It is not stable. It is dynamic. For example, as you are growing, as you get mature, you change your behavior. The behavior is changing. The behavior that you have when you are very children, it is different from the behavior you will develop when you are mature, when you are adult. So this is what we are talking about. It is changing. That is perimitable. So are we together, my students? So we can continue. Another feature of this learning behavior, it is adaptable. which means it can modify. It can be modified to adapt in a given condition, in a changing condition. When the condition is changing, so your behavior can change. Are you together? This is adaptable. So let's tell you, for example, let's give you an example. Let's give you an example. Suppose you are going to, you meet a situation which is not good. And then in that case, you have to think, what can I do so that I can pass through this situation? So through using the experience that you have, you can now pass through that situation. Are you together? For example, let's say when you are parents, and then the parents, they found there is a problem, for example, at the house. There is a problem of getting, for example, the school fees. So what the parents do? The parents, they try their best. They think, how can I do? How can I work so that I can get the school fees for my children? So that's why they use the experience, critical thinking, and then they think about what to do so that they can solve that problem. We are going to see many examples about this learning behavior. Another one, another feature of this learning behavior, it is progressive, which means it can be improved, reinforcement through the practice. When you do the practice, the experience, for example, you can now get this behavior. It is now, it can be improved through the practical, through the experience. Let me give you an example, but we're going to see it again. For example, we have this Ivan Pavlov. He had a dog, and then he used to give the food to the dogs. And then when the dogs see the food, they do salivate. You know what is salivation, my friends? It is just production of the saliva when the food is present. And then, you see what the man do, he tried to see if he can now cause those dogs to salivate through the stimulus, conditional stimulus. And then he started to ring a bell. And then after ringing a bell, and then she gives food to the dog. And then as he continued doing that, ringing a bell, then give the food to the dogs. The dogs could salivate when he rang a bell. You see? Because they know that when there is ringing of this bell, it can help. It is just time for getting the food. So through the practice of that bell, the dogs, they learned behavior. They changed their behavior. Their behavior have been improved. Are you together? Those are the characteristics of this learned behavior we are talking about. Now we can continue. When we talk about this learning behavior, we have different types of learning behavior. Number one, we have this behavior called habituation. So now, what does this mean? This is when there is a form of learning in which organism decrease or change in its response to the stimulus after repeated presentation. So what is this? Remember, we are on the learning behavior. So what is habituation now? Through the stimulus, remember stimulus is any change that is happening. When the animals used to hear the repeated presentation of stimulus, they can decrease or change to respond to the what? To respond to that stimulus. Let me give you an example. When we have the horse or cows, and when they are near on the roads where cars are passing, sometimes when they hear the noise of cars, so what's going to happen? Through hearing that noise, they can get disturbed, and then they start to make noise because they hear those noise of cars that's passing through the roads. And then, as that cars continue to pass through the roads, so these cows or horse, they can adapt. They can be habituated to that what? To that noise of cars, and then they start to decrease or chase even to respond to the what? To the stimulus. That is habituation. Just to be familiar with the stimulus, and then they start to chase to respond to that stimulus. This is what you call habituation. To be familiar with a given stimulus. It is progressive decrease of amplitude or frequency of a motor response to the repeated sensory stimulation. This is what we have talked about. That just because of getting this kind of stimulus, listening this kind of stimulus many times, the animals can get familiar and then they chase even to respond on that what? Stimulus. This is what you call habituation. Are you understanding what is that? Now, so we can have this example, is what we actually have talked about. The horse and the cows, disregarding noise cars and scarecrow habituation to close. So this is what happened when the animals, they are familiar, they become familiar with a given stimulus. Are you together? So it's a kind of this noise of the car. When the horse used to hear those noise and then start to get disturbed. So now when they are familiar with that noise, now they chase to, they are now in a good condition. They are not disturbed again. They take it as normal. So this is what you call habituation. So this is an example we are taking here on this. Suppose this is a claw, and then when you see this kind of the image you can put in your field, so that your crops cannot be attacked by scavengers or this kind of can call it those claw. For example, when they come to eat some crops here, when they see this image, they have scared. They are scared on coming here. But when they used to see this image here, many times, now they come familiar. You see, now it is here on this image, which means it has been adapted. It has run that this image is there just for, it cannot cause any harm. You see? Now, another kind of running behavior is imprinting. When we talk about imprinting, it's a form of running in which an animal can now have this, what you call social attachment to another animal. So we can have this example. When any animal gives birth to the young ones, so the young ones has to be attached to the mother, to their mother. So as the mother is moving, those young ones, they will continue to follow the mother. So that's what you call social attachment. This is what you call imprinting. So how those young ones, they have been adapted to follow the mother. That is imprinting. That's the running. During this, the animal acquire an indelible memory of certain stimulus. So they have been memorized. So this is the mother. This is our mother. So we have to follow our mother. So that's what you see, for example, for the chickens. They have to follow the hen. You see, we can see this. Actually, this memory for the young ones is retained through the life and recall later when needed. So now, example is the relation between mother and the newborn. So this is what you have already talked about. So now, you can see this on this on this diagram. So this is duck, those are ducklings. So they are following the mother. You can ask yourself, how those young ones, they learn to follow the mother. So there is social attachment. That is imprinting. Are you together? Now, this one I have already described about that. So behavior imprinting acts as instinct for the survival of newborns. Actually, when the newborns are not following the mother, they can even get the dangerous. They can get the predators. Some animals can kill them. So that's why when they follow the mother, they feel they are protected. It's a kind of protection. So they learn that, and then they continue to do that. So this is what you call imprinting behavior. And now, imprinting is very real to induce the formation of strong social bond between offspring and the parent. This is what we have talked about. That is strong. That's why even for human being, you can find that. So the mother, when the mother comes, the young baby can know, this is my mother. You see, when you bring like 5 mothers, and then young ones or young baby can know her mother. You know why? Because of that social attachments. Because there is what you call pheromones. We have talked about this last time. When we talk about pheromones, those are chemical substances that are volatile, that can be produced by any individual or animal, and that can attract other animals of the same species. That's what happened for the young babies. Because when they are developing in their mother's womb, so there is some pheromones that are there, and then once they are born, they can feel also to hear that pheromone. That's why they know their mothers. This is what you call imprinting. Before we go to the assignments, we can now try to make the summary of what we have seen. So we can try to define what is learning behavior. 1 second. Oh, nice. Learning behavior is the behavior that we get through the observation, through the experience. Okay? Then we have also seen that learning behavior are divided. They can be divided into different types. Before we talk about those types, who can tell us like three features of this learning behavior? Number 1 is non-irritable. You're right. When we talk about non-irritable, what does it mean? It means we cannot get it from our parents. Right? So we can even have it is non-heritable. Another one, it is adaptive. It is extrinsic. And so this is some of the features of this learning behavior. When we talked about, let's say, non-irritable, which means you can get it through experience and observation. It is not coming from it is not inherited. Another one, it is adaptive, which means when you perform it for the first time, you can now experience it. It is extrinsic. When we talk about this being extrinsic, what does it mean? It means when the animal is isolated, when it is in isolation, you cannot develop that behavior. So you do develop it when you are not isolated. So another one, we have seen that learning behavior is divided into we have this habituation. When we talk about habituation, what does it mean? Habituation, which means the animal can chase or decrease to respond to the stimulus when there is repetition of what? Of the stimulus. We have seen about this these horse and cars that can be familiar with the noise of the cars. And then we have seen that it is imprinting about the social attachment of the newborn to the mothers. So now, the assignment of today, number one, you will explain the characteristics of learning behavior. We have seen this, you will now be able to explain. Number two, you will define the term behavior. What does mean behavior? Number two, you will describe the difference between instinctive and learned behavior in animals. Then see, with examples of instinctive behavior, explain fully the way in which response is brought about.